Good morning, Tana.
Hey Amanda, how you doing?
Oh, I'm so excited to be chatting with you.
Oh, thank
You
you.
are just one of the coolest people that I think I've ever been able to chat with. I mean, what a life. What a life.
It's the only one I have.
And you've
So
lived
no,
it you've lived it well. I feel like you've packed multiple lifetimes into your life. So, we're talking about your new book Loud, which is something that I cannot wait to fully read because you are the world's first female roadie.
absolutely, absolutely. I hold that dubious title.
And no one can ever take that away from you.
Not yet.
That is incredible. So tell me how this started. Tell our listeners how this started because you weren't even 18 when all of this started.
I was actually 15 when all of this started. So I'd already run away from home, decided that that wasn't working for me, and went to a festival. Seeing I missed Woodstock, so I decided that whatever festival came up next, I was going to be there. So, and I'm in Australia, by the way, so no surprise that I missed Woodstock at the tender young age of 11, I think I was when that happened. And so, but I wanted to go. So it goes back through my entire life, the love of music. So yeah, I ran away from home, went to a festival, um, actually hooked up with a troupe for a person called Philippe Petit. He's the guy who tightrope walked between the Twin Towers, that guy. And he was at that festival, and his people said, if you want to come down to Sydney, we're going to do a commando. He always called his stuff commando stuff, because they'd always do it under the cover, cloak of darkness, no permits or anything like that, God forbid. So it was like, yeah, that'd be fascinating. So without even knowing it, I was really getting involved in my first production, and it was like, we had all the steel cables and we'd rig them between the posts. And his deal was he wanted to walk the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So that's what we were doing. So we went down to Sydney, and the North Shore entrance, the big pylons at the start of the bridge, that's what he was going to walk between. So it was really quite amazing. And that gave me a taste for production, even though it wasn't music. And then within a couple of months, I found myself in a club in Sydney, and I'd been invited, and I'd never been into a club before. And it was some American R&B band. And I got sat next to the front of house sound console. And I spent the whole show watching these people. What are they doing? The sound guys twiddling knobs, and his sidekicks running backwards and forwards to the stage. And then that brought my attention to the side of the stage. And then I saw someone else passing up instruments. So all of a sudden, it's all sort of falling into place for me. I don't know what it is, but it's like, hang on a second, what is this? And so the guy comes back during one of the breaks who stood me there, and he says he was the tour manager. And he says, so what do you think of the show? You liking it? Are you enjoying it? I'm going, yeah. But what are these guys? What are they? And you go, they're roadies, and I'm like, roadies? What's that? My 15-year-old ears perked up. It's like roadies, And so I decided, I said to him, and he says, yeah, we travel with the band. And it's like, hang on a second, you travel, you have live music every day. And I look at him wide-eyed, I go, do you get paid? At which point he said, I know. At which point he's like looking at me going, oh, the poor thing. He says, yeah, of course we get paid. And I'm like, that's when I decided this is what I want to do. Didn't say it out loud, but it was like the penny dropped. And it was like, and it was a matter of a couple of months later where I got my first opportunity to do that. So it was interesting how it all fell into place. Yeah.
Now, your first opportunity just happened to be with a little up and coming band, right? Named AC/DC.
Yeah, that was actually my second opportunity because they moved to Melbourne. So I was still in Sydney. They were in Sydney at the time, and they were doing something different. So I got this little band that I started with, who had a couple of hits at the time. They were doing quite well, but they moved me down to Melbourne, and that's how I ended up getting the job with AC/DC a few months later. So I'd had about 6 months experience when I got approached to see if I could work for this new up and coming band. And yes, and we all lived in a house together, and we all traveled together, and we all ate together, and so it was a really close knit thing. And yeah, and that was the start of AC/DC, and that was the start of when I realized that this definitely was going to be a career.
I have so many things I want to ask you in this life. And the fact that I only get a few minutes with you, I'm trying to figure out what to ask first. Were you ever really scared? Did you ever have any scary moments as a beyond young female? I mean, like, I'm trying to picture myself at 15 running away from home and like touring with AC/DC. Like, okay. Did you ever have any scary moments where you thought maybe I shouldn't have done this?
Yeah, but you're going to have those in your life anyway, I figure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd had plenty of scary moments as a small child anyway. So, I'd had a pretty rough start. So the bar was set pretty high for scary moments, So it really, and by the time I was 15, 16 years old, I felt that I could totally handle myself. I mean, could I? Probably not. But at half of its attitude anyway, you know what I mean? So I had the attitude that it was like, come near me, I will kill you. So
Yeah.
I was kind of feral, like that. So, and which amazed a lot of people, because a lot of people weren't game to call my bluff. It's like, she might just do that. She might just do that. Maybe we should leave her alone. It's like, oh my God.
I feel if I would have encountered you, I'd have been like, all right, I'll let her lie. Like, I'll not poke this bear. Was there a tour that you went on that was just out of this world incredible? Like your favorite tour that you did?
Favorite tour? Yeah. See, this is such a hard question.
Yeah.
There's so many tours and there's so many different artists. And a lot of it's sort of around, which I kind of talk about in the book. A lot of it is about where they're hitting in their career when you're with them. You know what I mean? Because you can be with an artist who's incredibly talented, has an amazing portfolio history, and they're just at a low time in their life and they're horrible people, so it's really tough. It's really tough to answer that. And, you also get biased by the other side of it, the good time that you're having, so it may not be a musical genius, but it's like a wonderful tour and you're so happy you did it. I wouldn't go as far as Disney on Ice. That wasn't quite chilling, but didn't quite expand that far. But in theory, in music, it does help, I mean, like early, there's early, like for your locals, I was fortunate enough to work with Pearl Jam, and we went to Hawaii, and that was just after Lollapalooza. We'd just done Lollapalooza, went to Hawaii and did all the different islands, and that was an amazing little joint. You know what I mean? And they're such good people, and they're all surfing and hanging out, and I had my son with me at the time, and he's getting to hang out and surf and stuff, so for that, those things like that, moments like that is what really counts, which is usually the personal moments that bring the story true.
Was there ever a tour that you met the artist? It was like day one, you meet the artist and you immediately think, oh boy, this is going to be a long one.
Yeah. The good thing about that is, as your career evolves, you can usually duck those bullets. You see them coming and you go, you know what? I'm a little busy right now. Would have loved to have done it, but let's catch you on the rebound, and then you run like hell. And when they're calling your name out after you, you pretend you can't hear because you're running so fast.
Oh, my stars. You are just an incredibly amazing person. And so in this book, Loud, people can hear all sorts of these different stories about different tours. I mean, we can just learn more about you.
Well, yeah, and also, how the industry evolved and all that sort of stuff, and how women are coming into the industry. There's all sorts of things, It's definitely absolutely not a tell-all book, because they can all write their own tell-all books. You know what I mean? I'm writing stories that give you like a personal, private sort of little private look into their lives and stuff, and the lives of all the people that make it happen. So, yeah.
Well, just keep on keeping on. You rock, ma'am. And I hope at some point in time I get to chat with you again, because I would just love to talk music with you more. And
well, that would be fabulous.
I think
we should do that. Yeah, we should do that, Amanda. Thank you. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you. And I will make sure everyone has info on how to get Loud, the new book.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So much. You have a great day, honey.
Thank you. Bye.